Hi, everybody. This is Adam from SpiderOak's customer success team, and joining me today is Chip from SpiderOak.
Hello.
He's one of our brilliant developers. I'm really excited to have him today to discuss this topic. So one of the things that came out in the news is a vulnerability with Wi-Fi. It's being called the KRACK vulnerability. So Chip, can you tell us a little bit about that and what it involves and who it affects?
Sure. So Wi-Fi is encrypted in transit between devices using a number of technologies, but the latest and most popular is WPA2. And the vulnerability creates it's a key replay attack for the key exchange between parties, and it allows with the replayed nonces and known content, which you get from established protocols. It allows you to recover, I think, the session key in a way that allows you to eavesdrop on the traffic. And in some more severe cases, it'll actually compromise the key in a way where you can inject traffic as well. And the severity varies by platform, but pretty much every platform is vulnerable in some way. So it's a pretty serious vulnerability. And it affects pretty much all platforms, like all routers. It affects both WPA2, the regular shared key, and the enterprise versions. So pretty much anybody using Wi-Fi needs to upgrade. There is a fix, and do that ASAP.
And so, in terms of the fix, what do people need to do? What do they need to upgrade?
Routers and clients. Basically, if all of the devices, like the Wi-Fi access point and the devices are vulnerable, you're vulnerable. I believe it can be fixed by patching the access point, and that protects the clients. But if your clients aren't also patched, you can still be vulnerable if you go to a different access point.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the solution outside of this vulnerability? How do people stay safe online if they're on a potentially compromised network?
So, security is all about defense in depth. You want to have multiple layers of security in place so that if one of them fails, you're still protected. And the WPA protects the network itself, and then you've got transport encryption for most of the applications that run on top of it. And the extremely widely used protocol for that is SSL or TLS. It encrypts between your computer and the server somewhere else. And encryption is good, but the important you need to know that you're talking to the right person for encryption, or otherwise someone can put themselves in the middle, decrypt it on one side, encrypt it on the other, and you'll never know. That's a man-in-the-middle attack. Mm-hmm. So in order to ensure that you're talking to the right endpoint, there's identity verification systems around certificates. And you may have seen something about this. Most operating systems have certificate stores, and when you get an SSL certificate for your website, that's part of a chain of trust that starts with SSL providers that ship their root certificates with the browsers, and it gets verified on down. The problem with SSL certificates is that you do have to trust those people who do the root certificates. Mm-hmm. And it's, there have been several cases lately where we found that those aren't entirely trustworthy. So what a certificate pin does is it says, I want to verify only against this one particular certificate or this particular registrar or something. It restricts the scope of things you verify against in a way so that other parties in this key infrastructure can't work against you. And all of SpiderOak stuff uses key pinning. A lot of security software does these days, and a lot of websites have key pinning available as well. That's done through the browser. Mm-hmm. And it's also important to note that the SSL encryption is just another layer in what SpiderOak does. Even if that gets broken, which happens occasionally, all of SpiderOak stuff is end-to-end encrypted in a way where breaking the transport encryption won't compromise your data either.
Because inside the transport encryption, the data that's being transported has already been encrypted.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So by the time it gets onto the Wi-Fi, it's actually been encrypted 3 times.
Yeah. So layering is important.
Yes.
Now, if I'm a business owner or I run a website, what's the process that I need to go through to pin a certificate?
It's important to distinguish between pinning in an application and pinning on a website. Pinning in an application you can do yourself as part of the development process. You basically program the application to say, I want to verify against this particular certificate. That's actually somewhat easier than pinning a website. Pinning a website means you actually have to get your pin into the browser itself, and it's been a while since we pinned SpiderOak.com, but the way it was done back then, and it might still be done this way, is we talked to someone on the Chromium dev team. They maintain an internal list in the browser of all of these pins, and then other browsers, Mozilla, IE, Edge, take that list so that everyone gets it. So it's a manual process. It will take some time because it has to go through the normal browser release cycle. And you usually want to include a couple of backup keys in case you need to change your certificate for whatever reason. You basically pre-generate the keys, you give them the public part, and then you lock it in a safe somewhere for a rainy day. So yeah, it's a little bit involved, but if you're doing important stuff, it's good for your customers to know that they're talking to the right website.
Yep. All right. Well, Chip, thanks so much for taking the time to discuss this with us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. And for any of you watching, if you have any other security or privacy-related questions, we'll do these chats from time to time. So contact us on Twitter or Facebook, or send us an email. Let us know the questions you might have about security or anything you've read in the news, and we'll get one of our brilliant developers like Chip who can answer your questions. Thanks.
Yeah.